Playing music in your classroom is a great way to create a sense of calm and focus. Want to know how? I'm going to help you get started with sound tracking in your classroom in 6 simple steps. For the best ideas and information about arts integration and SEAL, subscribe to the Inspired Classrooms channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I'm Elizabeth Peterson. Let's get started. I've been integrating music into my classroom ever since I was student teaching over 21 years ago. And in the last 5 years or so, I've been using music to soundtrack my classroom to help calm and focus my class of students. Now, this SEAL strategy is a teacher favorite in my SEAL teacher training course, and it's by far one of the most successful SEAL strategies across all grade levels and all subject areas. Teachers and students love when their classroom is soundtracked, and today I'm going to teach you how to get started with soundtracking your classroom. Now, there is a wrong way to do this, and that is to just start and see if it works. Truth be told, it probably won't. Just as with any good classroom management tool, you need to set the foundation of what it is you're doing. And with this SEAL strategy, just like any other, explicit teaching is the key. In other words, you want to tell your students what you're doing and explain why. Now, just in case you don't know what SEAL is, let me tell you briefly. SEAL stands for Social Emotional Artistic Learning, and it's a branch of arts integration that has come out of the Inspired Classroom. It provides a framework for teachers to integrate the arts with SEL, and you can learn more about that framework in this video here. Sound tracking comes into play very early on SEAL because it's just so effective. But remember, you have to introduce it in the right way. So here are the 6 steps to sound tracking your classroom. First, you need to pick a simple assignment to give your class. It could be a word search with vocabulary words, or a quick draw, or a math sheet with review equations on it. It should be something that you know your students will be successful with. But before you begin, you will need to tell them what you're doing and why. The next step after you pick out your easy assignment is to let your students preview the music for a minute and then give them a chance to give you some feedback. You might ask them things like, how does the music make you feel? Or what makes this music a good choice to use while you're working? Now, this third step is optional, and let me tell you why. It has to do with visualization, and you will need to figure out if this will be appropriate for your class. It really depends on their age and if they will feel at ease doing this type of thing. So in this step, you're going to ask your students to close their eyes and visualize themselves doing the work while the music is playing. This visualization can work really well if you think you have a class that will be receptive to this, and it can also backfire if your students aren't ready for this. So you know your students best, so you will need to decide if taking the time to visualize will actually help your students move forward with the sound tracking experience. Let me know in the comments if you'll think you'll do this third step of visualizing with your students, and tell me why. Okay, next for step 4, you're going to play the music and then allow students to get started on their work. The purpose of this time is for your students to experience working with the music playing in the background. It's important that they find success with this, so only have them work for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes tops. Once that time is up, it's time for step 5, which is reflection. Reflection is so important when you're working with SEAL or any SEL method or program. So make sure you take even just a couple minutes to reflect on your experience and get your students' feedback. The final step is to practice. You are going to need to practice having students work with their normal workload while the music is playing. Some classes are going to love it, and others might not like it at first. You may need to play around with what music is going to work better for which class, adjust volumes, and of course, just as with any other classroom management strategy, you may need to pause every once in a while and remind your students why you're using this SEAL strategy and how you see it being very successful for them. Now, I bet I can guess what a couple of your follow-up questions might be, so let me address two more things. For one, you may be concerned with how much time it will take to introduce sound tracking to your classroom in this manner. And I totally understand that. Believe me, we teachers have so much to do in so little time. However, if this is something you really want to try, then it's so worth it. These initial steps will probably take you about 20 to 30 minutes, but the reward you get from doing a thorough introduction to sound tracking is immense. Your class will calm right down into their spots and the music will just melt into the background, blanketing this layer of calm in your classroom. The other question I get all the time is what music to use. So I always suggest using yoga type alpha wave music as a starting point. It's a calming type of music. It has no rhythm or real melody that is going to distract your students as they work. There are many places you can find tracks like this on YouTube and Spotify, Pandora. You can even ask Alexa to play yoga or calming music. So have some fun finding music that you really want to use in your classroom. Now, there is really so much more I can share with you about sound tracking your classroom. This is just the beginning. If you want to learn more, visit teachseal.com and search for sound tracking. And if you want to learn all of it, consider joining me for SEAL teacher training, where you will learn not just the ins and outs of this SEAL strategy of sound tracking, but so much more about social, emotional, artistic learning and all the SEAL integrations that will benefit you and your students. Those links can be found under this video. If you like what you've learned today, please let me know by liking this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your fellow teacher friends. And make sure you comment below and let me know what you plan to soundtrack your classroom with, and if you plan to soundtrack. I'm Elizabeth Peterson. Thanks again so much for watching, and remember to keep inspiring yourself with new ideas so that you can be inspiring to your students. Have a good one.